You've probably heard some different ideas around how to make money with AI, like creating and selling ebooks, social media resources, and even creating your own custom GPTs. While all of these are great and can legitimately make you money, they can be somewhat involved and time-consuming. That's why in today's video, I'm sharing what I consider to be one of the most underrated ways to make money online with AI. It's one that not many people are talking about, but is totally doable even for beginners. You don't have to have a fancy sales page or funnel, and you can get this side hustle going in a matter of minutes today if you want to. So I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that you'll need to take to use AI to create and sell this high demand digital product, and make sure you watch all the way to the end of the video because at the end I'm sharing an extra juicy pro tip that you're not going to want to miss. Now, before we jump into step number 1, if you're interested in learning the different various ways you can make money online using AI beyond just this one that I'm teaching in this video, I've put together a whole guide of 50 different ideas for you. These are 50 different ways that you can make money using AI online. So whether you just want to make some extra money as a side hustle or you want to turn this into a full-time business, you're going to want to grab this guide and check out these different ideas for generating revenue using AI. So it's a completely free guide. You can download it. I've got it linked in the description box below. And I know that's going to be a hugely helpful resource for you in earning money online using these different AI tools. But for now, let's get back to this underrated idea that I'm talking about today. And this is creating and selling bundles of informational sheets. As I was browsing on Etsy, I started noticing a lot of bestsellers within this category of informational sheets. There are tons of different types of these informational sheets and different niches you can sell these in, but the one I've narrowed it on here are these food lists. So these are different bundles of sheets that have information about different types of food. So there's lots of sub niches even within this broader niche. We've got FODMAP food charts, anti-inflammatory foods, PCOS food list, high fiber food charts, protein food charts. The list goes on and on. Like I mentioned, as I'm scrolling through these, I'm seeing a lot of these are bestsellers, which tells me that several of these bundles are selling consistently and they're ranking high on the first page of search results, which means that they're high in demand. Now you might be thinking, well, Kate, can't people just go online and find this information for themselves? And while yes, they could technically go on there and research for themselves, a lot of people don't have the time or energy to do that, and they'd rather pay to have this information packaged really well for them in an easy to consume manner, like these informational sheets. So let's take this one for instance. This is an entire nutrition bundle that's priced right now at $13.88. It does have the bestseller tag, meaning that it's selling consistently, and it looks like it includes several different types of food charts and lists. So this is something that we could create easily within a matter of minutes using AI tools and sell, earning passive income. So the first step here is to create your actual sheets. Now you can use a variety of different programs for this, but for today, I'm going to be using Canva Sheets, which Canva has actually just recently come out with at the time of this filming. So to access these, you can go to canva.com/sheets, and then you'll click create a sheet. And this will bring you into Canva's version of a spreadsheet. Now, when you open it up, you have the choice to either start from scratch and just build this out from scratch, which you totally can do, or you can start with one of their templates. I'm just going to choose this one because I'm going to edit this a little bit. I'm going to click to add this to my page. And even though right now this template says social media calendar, I'm going to switch all of this around and make this into my own high protein food chart. So you'll notice on Canva Sheets, if you're using a template, as you start clicking around, you can see text, you can see different individual elements they've added. So if I want to remove something, I can simply click on it and then delete, and that'll remove those elements. I can also change colors around, change the fonts around, which we'll see more of in just a minute. But for now, I'm just going to change this title to say high protein foods. I'm going to click on the background, change this to a fun bright color because I noticed that in the best-selling listings on Etsy, a lot of these had a lot of fun colors in them. I'm going to change this to say just something like your guide to eating high protein. And then I'm going to want to just go ahead and get rid of all of this text that's already here in the template. So I'm just going to click here and drag to select all of the cells that I want to remove what's already there. Once those are selected, I can click delete and then delete again. And that removes all of the contents from those cells. So now I've got just empty cells that I can work with. Now with the cell selected that I want to start with, so it's this pink one here on the left, I can now generate my table. So I'm going to come up here to actions, and this is where Canva's AI comes into play. I can choose generate table and then give it a prompt for what I want it to create. So I don't even have to do any of the research for this ahead of time, which makes this so quick and easy. I'm just going to give it a prompt. So I'm going to say generate a list of 15 high protein foods in the first column. In the second column, add the serving size for one serving of each food. In the third column, add the amount of protein in grams for one serving of each food. In the fourth column, add the amount of calories for one serving of that food. Now I'm just going to click generate, and here it's going to automatically give me that list of the 15 high protein foods with the serving size, the amount of protein, and the calories. Now I might want to double check this information is correct. And once I'm sure it is, I can click insert, and here it's put in my titles here, food, serving size, protein, calories, and you can see in the cells, I've got all of the different information. Now I do need to do some formatting of this, obviously, because I want this to be really aesthetically pleasing and really cute. So I'm just going to continue going in here and working with the fonts to make the titles bold, maybe increase the font size a little bit. I can change the actual font itself. And one other thing I might want to do is add some cute little graphics of each of these foods, because I noticed that was something in the bestsellers as well. So what I'm going to do here is click on this second column and then right click and choose add a column to the left. So now I've got this extra empty column where I can add the graphics and images of each food. So I can do this by coming over on the left to Canva's elements library. So just click where it says elements and search for what you want. Then click over to graphics, and you've got a whole selection here of different fun graphics you could use. Now, of course, some of these are pro elements and some are free. So if you're on the Canva free plan, you can use any that don't have this little crown symbol. But if they do have a crown symbol on the bottom right corner, that means that is a Canva Pro element, and you will have to have Canva Pro to use that element. If you don't have Canva Pro yet and you think you might be interested in upgrading to Canva Pro, I have a free 30-day trial link in the description box below. That's my affiliate link, so you can use that to get 30 days free trying out Canva Pro to see if it's a good fit for you. You'll get all this upgraded premium content and fonts that you can use in your products. So for now, I'm just going to choose the one I want, and it automatically adds it to this box that I have selected. I can continue editing this by resizing it, rotating it, whatever I want to do here, and continue working my way down the list. So next up is salmon. I'm just going to search for that in the elements library, choose a cute little graphic of a piece of salmon, and I'm going to add a picture for each of these different foods. So after some editing and working through all of the little pictures here, this is what my final sheet looks like. I added a little column over here on the right for notes. I'm going to leave that blank in case the person who purchases this wants to print it out and make some of their own notes beside these. But once I've got everything ready and looking super cute, I'm going to come up and click share and then download. And I'm going to do two different downloads of this. So the first one is going to be the PDF version. They've got PDF standard and PDF print. You really could use either of these, but if you suspect this will be printed out by your buyer, you'll probably want to choose PDF print. And then you can click to download that. So that'll be your actual deliverable item. So that's the file that the buyer will receive upon purchase. But you also want to download a version of this as a JPG. This is what we're going to use in the next step when we come up with our listing images. So I'm going to click JPG and download that as well. Now, one thing you want to make sure to do before you ever even download is come up here and give this page a title, because that's what it's going to save as when you download. So here I've given it the title High Protein Foods. That way, as I'm downloading multiple of these sheets, if I'm making a bundle, I can tell which is which. So if I am wanting to sell a bundle, I could go through this whole process again, generating different tables for different types of foods, changing out the fonts and the colors, and making them all look really pro level. All right, let's move on to step number 2, which is to create our mockups. When you're selling any type of digital product online, you're likely going to want to have mockup images to use for your actual listing. So these are images that show the buyer what they're actually purchasing as part of this bundle. And you can make really professional looking mockups by adding things like text or shadows to your designs to help the buyer kind of envision what this would look like as a printed out tangible product. So I'm also going to use Canva to create these mockups. I'm going to come to where it says create to start a new project. And the size that you'll want to create this in is dependent on the sales platform you use, whether you're selling these on Etsy or Shopify or a different sales channel. You'll want to look into that to see what size that specific sales platform recommends for listing images. But let's say we want to sell on Etsy. Etsy recommends for their platform a minimum of 2,000 pixels per side. Now you could do this as a 2,000 by 2,000, which would be a square orientation. You could change this up if you wanted to do 2,000 by something else to make it horizontal or vertical. But just to keep it simple for this demo, I'm going to stick with 2,000 by 2,000 pixels and click create new design. And here's my empty canvas that I'm going to turn into our mockup. So before you ever even start creating your mockups, it's a great idea to do a little bit of research. Look on a platform like Etsy within the niche that you're thinking of selling in to just get some ideas and inspiration for what other sellers are doing, what formats they're using for their mockups. And when I did a little bit of this research, I noticed some of the best-selling listings used a photo in the background. So that's what I'm going to start start with here. I'm going to come over to the Elements library again and maybe do a kitchen photo since my bundle is going to be food related. And I'm going to click over to photos. Again, look at the bottom right corner to see if it has a Pro symbol or not. If you have Canva Pro, you can use any of those. If not, you'll want to only use the free photos that are available with no crown symbol in the corner. But I kind of like this one. So I'm going to add that, resize it so it's stretching all the way across my background. And I'm going to actually decrease the transparency on this by coming up to this top floating toolbar, clicking on the transparency icon and bringing that slider a little bit down to the left. You can see as I'm sliding it, it's getting more and more see-through. When I bring it back up to the right, it's getting more and more colorful and bold. So I don't want to bring it all the way down. I just want it a little bit transparent so I can add my images and text on top. So I think that's about good for now. And then the next step is to come to the Uploads tab on the left. And I'm going to now upload the images that I downloaded of my sheets earlier. So remember how we downloaded both a PDF version and a JPG version? This is where I'm going to upload the JPG versions of all of my sheets that are included in my bundle. So once they're showing up here in the Uploads tab, I can click to add them to my project. So here's my sheet right here. I can then click to drag and resize these how I want. I can also double click on this if I want to crop it. So maybe I want to crop this in like that. I can do that and then continue working with this and placing it where I want in the mockup. Now I'm going to leave a little space here at the bottom because in a minute I'm going to add some text down there. So I think for now I'm just going to place this right about here. And then I might want to add a cute little shadow to my design. That's a great way to make it sort of just pop out from the background and give it that extra professional look. So again, I'm coming to the Elements library. I want to type in shadow and look through all of the graphics section to see what shadow might fit best underneath this. I can click to add it. So you can see kind of this light colored shadow. I'm going to size this down and bring it down underneath my image right here. And then I'm going to right click on this, choose layer, and then click send backward because I don't want the shadow on top. I want it behind my image so it appears underneath and behind. So you can see I can still move this shadow around and I'm going to place this where it looks most natural as if it's laying right underneath my design here. Then I'm going to keep adding more of my designs, assuming this is a bundle I'm selling. Now for this demo, I've only created this one, so I'm just going to duplicate this. But if you were actually adding multiple designs, you would just keep coming over to the Uploads tab and dragging over each individual file. So I'm going to keep working with these, placing them where I want, making sure to add that shadow underneath each one. And here I've got all my different designs laid out with a shadow underneath each. And I'm going to add a little bit of text here at the bottom to just tell my potential buyer that this is a digital download and it's able to be printed out. So I'm just going to come to the left where it says text, add a text box, and I'm going to say printable digital download. Again, I can format this in all kinds of ways by changing the font, size, but for now I'm going to stick with that and then add a little colored box behind. So I'm coming back over to my Elements library. I'm going to choose a square shape, bring that down, stretch it all the way across so it's appearing as a background box for my text. And there I've got my first listing image. So on Etsy, you can have 10 of these different images. So you'll want to keep creating different types of mockups with different formats, maybe different text. So you can fill up as many of those 10 image slots as possible. And when you're done creating your mockups, you're going to click share and download. And again, you can do this as a JPG or a PNG. I generally just go with JPG because it's a small file size and easily able to be uploaded to a platform like Etsy, and click download. All right, so we've created our product, we've designed our mockups, and now it's time to move on to step number 3, which is to create the actual listing. So again, it's totally up to you what sales channel you use. You could sell these in your own e-commerce shop using a tool like Shopify. You could sell this on a marketplace platform like Etsy. You could sell this through your social media shop. But for this demo, we're going to go through the process with Etsy because that is my favorite platform to sell digital products on, especially for beginners who are needing to get some of that traction and momentum going, because Etsy has a huge built-in audience of millions of shoppers who are actively on the platform looking for these types of products. And before we jump into actually creating the Etsy listing, if you are someone who wants to sell on Etsy and maybe either you're not super familiar with it yet or you're already an Etsy seller and you just haven't been able to get those sales coming in like you wanted to, I'd love for you to hop over and watch my free 45-minute deep dive Etsy success masterclass. In the class, I teach through my signature 5-pillar Etsy success formula, which focuses on my main 5 strategies that took my personal Etsy shop to multiple 6 figures in the top 1%. Out of all the different strategies you could use on Etsy, and there's a lot, these are the 5 that I've narrowed it down to after over 10 years of of being an Etsy seller, the 5 that truly made the difference for me. So I'd love to invite you to join me and watch that masterclass when you're done watching this video. Again, it's totally free for you to watch. I've got it linked in the description box below, or you can just go to etsymasterclass.com. Okay, so when you go to upload your listing on Etsy, one of the first things it's going to ask you is if it's a physical item or a digital file. So for this, we're going to select digital file. And there are a lot of different fields that you'll need to fill out as you're creating your listing. I'm not going to go through them all. I do have different videos on my channel that go through how to actually step-by-step create a listing, but I am going to touch on the key areas of the listing that you'll definitely need to know about for listing this type of digital product. So you'll want to just continue going through the prompts, answering these questions that it's asking, and you'll come to this question that says, how is this digital content created? And you can either choose created by me or with an AI generator. Now it's up to you what you select here, but since I did use Canva's AI to help me, I'm going to select with the help of an AI generator. And now I'm here on the main listing page where I'm going to input things like the title, the photos, and upload the actual digital files themselves. So you can do a little bit of SEO research, which is search engine optimization, to figure out what highly searched keyword phrases would work best in sections like your title, your description, and your tag section. That just helps the Etsy algorithm to identify what your listing is all about and present it to the right shoppers. But coming back up, there's this second section that says photos and videos. So this is where you're going to upload your mock-up images that you created in Canva. Again, like we said, you can add up to 10 different images. I've just created the one in this demo, but ideally you would be able to have as many of these filled as possible with your different mock-ups. The next section down says digital files, and this is where you're actually going to upload your deliverable files. So remember how we originally downloaded our sheets in Canva as a PDF and a JPEG? These are going to be your PDF files that you downloaded. These are the actual files that are being delivered to the buyer. Now you can add up to 5 files here in this section. So if you have a bundle that's 5 files or less, you can go ahead and just upload directly to your listing. But if you have a bundle that's more than 5 files, you'll need to have a little bit of a workaround. And the best way to do this is to upload your files to something like Google Drive or Dropbox, and then create a simple document on Canva that has the link for that Google Drive folder or that Dropbox folder embedded in it. And then you can upload that one single PDF file that you created for that link delivery here instead of uploading all of the individual files, since there is that 5 file limit. And then of course, you'll want to just continue working your way through this listing, filling out all of the different fields. And when you're done, you can hit publish and go live. And once your shop is out there, published, ready to go, you've got your listings created, then you'll want to share about your offers on all the different platforms you're on. So whether that's social media or sharing through email, lots of different types of digital marketing, but get the word out there. Let people know that you have these available to get those sales rolling in. And as you start making sales, then on Etsy, you'll get paid either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. It's up to you as the seller to choose which of those is the best fit for you and get that set up in your settings section. And other than just the one-time initial setup fee when you create your Etsy shop, you'll just be paying fees whenever you list a new listing or when you make a sale. So if you're interested in selling on Etsy, you can look up those Etsy fees just by going on Etsy's website and checking out their seller handbook where they lay out all the different fees. Honestly, there's only a couple that are required for everyone. There's a lot of optional ones if you want to upgrade. But to me, again, Etsy is the best place for beginners to start because you can get started with a relatively low startup budget and tap into those millions of shoppers who are already on the platform looking for what you have to offer. All right, now I know you're ready for that pro tip that I talked about in the beginning, so here it is. This is something that's going to get you making those sales a lot quicker than if you were to just sort of guess and do a lot of trial and error. And this is to do trend research. So what I mean by trend research is you're going to do some research for the same type of product that you're thinking of within a similar niche that you're thinking of, and check out the listings that are ranking high. So those are the listings that are ranking on the first and second pages of search results. The reason they're showing up very high and first in the search results is because they're doing something right. They're making consistent sales. So that's a clue to us that we can take some inspiration from what they're doing and research to see what they're actually doing correctly. When I'm looking at these listings, especially on Etsy, I'm going to take note of any that have that little bestseller or popular now badge on the thumbnail, because even more than just ranking high on the first page, that little badge tells me even among those, these are the listings that are actually bestsellers. I'm going to look through those listings, look through their listing images, look through the product that they're offering, even look through the way their listing is laid out from their title to their description. And everything included there. When I'm looking at the product and the listing images, I'm looking to see if I can identify any elements like color schemes or font types or graphic styles that are repeating over and over again within this niche. If I'm seeing several different best-selling listings that have a similar font style or a similar color scheme or a similar graphic style that they're using, that's a clue to me that the buyers in this niche really like that, and that's something that I can take inspiration from and put my own twist on to make sure that I'm offering a product not only in a high demand category, but also in a high demand style. This type of research is going to pay off big when you create your products and put them out there into the world. So there you go, friend. I hope that was helpful for you. Don't forget to click the links in the description box below to grab your free list of 50 different ways that you can make money online using AI, and also to hop over and watch my free 5-pillar Etsy success masterclass. Happy selling.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know.